Hello and welcome to the Downsized. My name is Laraine Durham, and today I'm happy to present to you a talk my husband, Christopher Durham, gave at our business conference. We've been doing business conferences since 2017 for our business. The Velocity Institute brings together people in the world of private brands, people who sell private brands, manufacture private brands, and sell services to people who make private brands. What is a private brand, you say? I'm sure everybody watching this probably has been to Walmart. And if you have, you've probably seen their brand. Great Value is a brand you can only get at Walmart. That's their private brand. At Target, their private brand is Good and Gather. You probably have seen lots of private brands every time you shop in a retail store, but you may not have even known it. Our conference brings together about 200 people that work in the world of private brands. We had retailers from CVS, Target, Albertsons, the Fresh Market, Lowe's Foods, Lowe's Home Improvement, just to name a few. And Christopher usually gives a speech or a talk at every conference about what's happening in private brands. He's become, I would say, an expert in the world of private brands. I say he's famous to maybe 1,000 people in America that work and know private brands. Anyway, he gave a talk on the obesity epidemic, food, and private brand, where he went into great detail about our weight loss with GLP-1 medications. He showed some shocking before and after pictures of us and talked about how the world of private brand food is going to be impacted and is currently being impacted by GLP-1 medications. People are going to want more protein, people are going to need more supplements, and things like that. Take a look at it, and keep in mind that he's talking to 200 business people that were not expecting to hear a story about weight loss.
All right, it's made before lunch, and I get to talk about fat people. And I get to say that, and it's not sensitive, and I'll show you why in a minute. The obesity epidemic, food, and private brand. For those of you who were here last year, this was me last year. A little bit different. I weighed 285.4 pounds last year. This was me if you visited one of our events in Florida. I was a pretty big dude. I was a fat guy. I got to a place where you would use words like this, morbid obesity. This is a scary as hell word. I had a very nice lady doctor who I had an ear infection, went in, and part of her diagnosis said morbid obesity. Now, what that had to do with my ear infection, I have no idea. And it hurts, I'll tell you. You begin to reevaluate where you are, and you look at it and you say, I've got high blood pressure, I've got high cholesterol, and I've been on medications for a long time. The A1C levels are at pre-diabetic levels. I've got sleep apnea. There's just a lot of shit going wrong right here. And you wake up one day and you realize my mother passed away about 4 years older than I am. Not directly from obesity, but from related things. Okay. And it's scary. It is terrifying. And people say, oh, it's easy. Just eat a little less, exercise. You can lose 100 pounds. No, you can't. It's not that easy, people. It's not. So what do? Well, you're a 55-year-old bald dude, and you do the best you can, and you gain 20 pounds, and you lose 20 pounds, and you try whatever. If you talk to my wife, she's tried every diet known to man. You do the best you can. And then, last year, 9/29/23, I know the date exactly. This was Laraine and I then. Laraine, stand up, sweetie. It's my wife. And today, 218 pounds, okay? So let's talk about that, because I've lost almost 68 pounds and I'm still going. But what does this matter to private brand, right? This is just a yay, Christopher, right? You lost weight, awesome, what'd you do? But we'll get to, because I think it will directly change private brand. I think it will directly change our food culture, our food industry. And I'm not selling anything. There's no network marketing. There's no vitamins. Don't worry about it. I'm not doing that. My goal is to get to 190 pounds. Believe it or not, with the weird world that we live in, that would still put my BMI in the overweight range. And that's almost 30 pounds lighter than I am today. It's crazy. So how'd I do it? What did we do? Was there a caveman diet or some crazy thing? No. There was none of this. There was no just meat. There was none of that. There was no grapefruit diets or any other fad diet. It's not at all what there was no crazy exercise, competitive, none of that. There was no magic potions or bullets. That's not at all what it was. No secret miracles. I'm going to tell you exactly what we did. It was medicine. This is where it makes people uncomfortable, because for a fat guy, you're just supposed to do it. Muscle through it, right? Make it happen. And when I say there was medicine, people kind of look at me like, oh, I'm uncomfortable. What do I do now? But let's talk about it. There's a class of drugs called GLP-1s. Anybody ever heard of a GLP-1? Raise your hand. So we've got some, okay. GLP-1s, the most popular one out there today, you'll see the commercials all the time for Ozempic. Ozempic, right? You've heard it. It was originally a diabetes drug. The first ones came out about 20 years ago. Trulicity, Rybelsus, and it treated diabetes really well. And it helped with insulin production. It lowered everything. I'll talk a little bit about the science. What doctors and scientists discovered with these drugs was that it also helped with weight. Turns out when you lose weight, your A1C gets better, right? The science is pretty impressive. And now today, Ozempic has been approved by the FDA for weight loss, and they have one called Wegovy. So it was approved in 2021. We actually, my wife and I, are taking one called Zepbound. This is the version approved for weight loss. There's another one called Mounjaro that's for diabetes. We'll talk a little bit about it. They say that you will lose between 15 and 20% of body weight, and it works, okay? It is, put it in my pocket here somewhere. Oh, vest. Comes like this, in a pen. Twist the thing, put it, bam. Stomach, thigh, arm. Easy. If you're scared of needles, you hardly even know it's there. Let's talk about why all this matters and how it works. Zepbound is, as I said, an injectable weight loss medication, and it mimics two gut hormones, glucagon-like peptides, GLP-1, and a glucose-dependent insulinotropic polypeptide. Those are all big words. What does that mean? It does a couple of things. It reduces the way you feel about food, your appetite, and your food intake. It balances your blood glucose, sugar levels, and appetites. It works in a really smart scientific way. Scientists have discovered that there are things in your gut that send messages to your brain, and not everyone has the same amount of them, or some people need more, some people need less. So these are naturally occurring hormones that if you're a big person like me, what's happening is your body is saying, I need more energy, store it, and it keeps telling you that. If you're a skinny person, it's not telling you anything. You're just going, oh, everything's good, right? It's okay. It promotes insulin response, decreases the release of glucagon, which helps lower blood sugar levels. It slows the stomach emptying process so you feel fuller longer. And again, it promotes fullness. In addition to that, it stops food noise. So for those of you who do not know what food noise is that evolutionary thing in your head that says you need to store energy to stay alive. And it can be overwhelming. And you wake up in the morning and you think, I gotta eat. What's for lunch? What's for dinner tomorrow? Pizza. Biscuits would be good. Wait a minute, and it just goes on and on and on and on. And it's because your body is saying, protect yourself. So the reality in a famine, us guys like this, we'll have lots of energy and we'll survive. Doesn't help on a daily basis. Paired with this medication, with changes, so diet, exercise, these medications are extremely effective. Doesn't mean you have to do extreme things, it just means you have to be smart. The challenge of them today is there is a huge stigma around weight and weight loss. We all think we know how to do it, and most of us are fat, and I'll show you the numbers to prove it in a minute. When I tell people we're taking a medicine, about 2/3 of them kind of give me the side eye. Like, oh, you should have done that by yourself, right? Right, you're just lazy. Stop, don't be so lazy. That's the easy way. Why are you taking the easy way out? If you just had willpower, you could do this. You're cheating. Okay, it's huge. It's huge. And for those of us who have struggled for decades with weight, it's just over there. The next question they ask is, what about the side effects? The news is talking about it. If you watch the news every day, it's on there, and they're talking about, we'll walk through some of them. The side effects are pretty clear. There is a loss of appetite. That's what the drug does. It diminishes your appetite. There can be constipation, My wife and I have taken to just talking about this. We are not shy. If you want to ask a question about anything, we will answer it. Based on our experience, I have had constipation. It's minor, it's treatable, it's not a big deal. Nausea, indigestion, headaches, vomiting, diarrhea, those all things happen. I have not personally experienced anything other than constipation. About 1% of people will not react to this drug. About 3% of people will decide they do not want to take it because the side effects are overwhelming. Relatively small numbers. This list is nowhere near as exhaustive as every other medication that gets advertised on TV. Okay? I'll also ask you about muscle loss. Well, it turns out when you lose 86 pounds, your body is not smart enough to just pick that versus that. So yeah, you're gonna lose a little bit of muscle. That can be combated by eating protein. Okay, there's a very clear way to do this. The side effect isn't that bad. It does happen though. So there are severe but rare side effects, which can be pancreatitis, thyroid cancer, acute kidney injury, worsening diabetes-related retinopathy. There's possibilities that this is not a good thing for you, and you have to work with your physician very closely. This is a very, very, very small percentage. The next question is always, well, do you have to take it long-term? And the reality is probably you do, because this is a treatment, not a cure. So this is like a blood pressure medicine. This is like a cholesterol medicine. Now, the advantage for me is I have now lost so much weight that I will probably be off my blood pressure medication and my cholesterol medication within the next month or two. The other piece is, am I on it forever yet? Am I afraid of the side effects? Honestly, no, because I know the side effects of obesity. I know we buried my mom. Okay, it's hard. I know I want to be back around for my kids. The next question is always, well, are you going to gain it all back? That's what the news says. Everybody's going to gain it all back. Well, maybe. Okay, it still involves you taking care of yourself. And if you need to take the medicine, you take the medicine. But I can tell you on the other side of 80 some odd pounds, there was no way for me to lose that. We tried. And what we have discovered is that this gives possibilities. There are speed bumps along the way. The cost can range anywhere from $25 to $1,500 depending on your insurance or lack of insurance. So it's expensive. Right now there are supply chain shortages. If you watch the news, they'll talk about it. These things are really hard, and the challenge of the pen here is this is actually the supply chain problem. So making the pens is harder than making the medicine, and they're working on that. Novo Nordisk just announced Ozempic just announced they're investing $6 billion in this to get it done. Eli Lilly, who makes the Zepbound, has 7 factories that they're manufacturing right now. So they're building. There's one actually right up the road in Concord that should open up, and they're building one in Germany as well. And then just the overall fears, the media, your neighbor, your mom, everybody telling you shouldn't be doing this. What are you doing? And the challenge of insurance. And we all have that. What we believe, and Laraine and I talk about this all the time, is as these drugs get cleared for other things, the research that's coming out now around cardiovascular health and the use of these drugs, basically losing weight, makes your heart better. The sleep apnea, and there's a bunch of other things. What is happening is Medicare is beginning to approve it for the comorbidities, the things that go along. It may never get approved for weight loss, but if I have a cardiovascular problem or a sleep apnea problem, it might get approved and you get it in that way. What's the size of the market? Pun intended. 42% of Americans are obese, according to the CDC. It's a lot of people. Now, we can find the data, but what we know is that of those 42% of Americans that are obese, they over-index in food purchases. They are buying more food. So part of this is a story not unlike the last one, where sales may be down in some cases. There's 108 million people in the US that are obese. The estimated annual medical cost of obesity in the United States is $173 billion. That comes down to $1,863 for every adult that's obese. The opportunity to change the way we live, the way we are, our finances, the whole 9 yards, it's an obesity tax. It costs more to live as a fat person. It costs our healthcare system more, it costs everything more. In 1998, the NIH, National Institutes of Health, declared obesity a disease. In 2002, the Social Security Administration recognized it as a disease. Finally, in 2013, the American Medical Association. Now, why does it matter if it's a disease? What it matters is the powers that be, the respected, said this is an actual disease and not just a moral failing. There are people out there that can be helped by medicine. And the opportunity exists to do that. Obesity is defined as excessive fat deposits that can impair health. It can lead to an increased risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, affect bone health and reproduction, and increase the risk of certain cancers. Nobody questions whether we need to do something about obesity. We know that. What this medication does is it changes the person that has the disease of obesity from a person who lives to eat. And you've had this conversation, right? You live to eat. My wife and I have traveled and gone to Michelin star restaurants and food carts, all that, because I can tell you a football player name of my life, but ask me a chef, and I got it, man. I can tell you, to a person who eats to live. It's not that I don't enjoy food anymore, it's that I don't have. So what? So what does that mean to retail, to private brand? Well, Alexia Howard, the analyst from Bernstein, says GLP-1s have the potential to have a bigger impact on food consumption than arguably anything that we've seen before. The market for obesity medication by the end of the decades is $100 billion. Goldman Sachs said it'll be 10 to 70 million consumers by 2028. So the world, these obese patients will be taking medication. 1 in 8 adults say they have either used GLP-1 drugs, and it's rising to 4 in 10, so you can see the numbers there. If you're diabetic, 43% have, 26% who have heart disease, 22% are overweight or obese. Now, I'll throw it out there. Anybody willing? Anybody taking the drugs? Oh, 1, 2, 3. It's intriguing. It's changing the world, and it's changing the way we approach food. 1 million people have been prescribed GLP-1 since 2018. It's coming. Morgan Stanley says this medication uptake could drive a broad and lasting behavioral shift among a sizable demographic group that represents a disproportionate share of food consumption. It's going to change how we shop and who we are. So what does it mean for private brand? We'll start with John Furner from Walmart. In their analyst calls, this is what he said: new weight loss drugs are making people buy less food, period. If the largest retailer in the world is a little hinky about it, maybe we should talk about it. Obesity drugs result in a reduction of approximately 1,000 calories per day. Now, what that probably really meant is we were eating 1,000 too many calories, so it's not so bad, right? Sean Connolly from ConAgra is willing to just be practical about it, as a manufacturer should be. Let's say they go to smaller portions and we evolve the innovations and we design smaller portions. If they switch to different types of nutrients, we switch to different types of nutrients. If they change the kind of pack sizes they snack on, we'll change that too. So ConAgra, they're like, oh, okay, we can do it. What we're seeing is that the healthier categories see a boost. For my wife and I and our family, we still eat, we still enjoy food. We do not limit, we don't say there is no forbidden food. We eat less. And we say, I'm gonna eat a healthier protein, I'm gonna eat more vegetables, I'm gonna make sure we have fiber because of the constipation issues. And it changed the way we shop, but I honestly spend about the same. I'm just buying a little better product. Is the total volume going to go down as far as SKU count? Probably. I don't know that it'll go down as far as dollar. And what it happens for those retailers that do other things outside of food, there's all these companion products, vitamins, nutrients. Turns out when you lose 68 pounds, you have nothing that fit you. So Walmart and Target and everybody else, Amazon, gets clothes sales. Turns out I'm also more likely to exercise, or if the Lowe's folks are here, I'm more likely to work on my house or my yard, right? It just changes the way you live. Users eat more protein, less sugar, and they drink less. My wife, who's a big wine fan, will attest to the fact that alcohol just doesn't do it for her anymore. There's actually research out there saying that this drug can help with alcoholism as well. So a huge shift, but you see the shifts in category. Now, there will be some categories that are hit very hard by this until they adjust. Salty snacks and chips, we don't buy it anymore. We just don't. We shift to a snacking thing, so it might be a nut, it might be something else that has protein or fiber and other things. It still tastes great, but it's not potato chips. It's not Doritos. The challenge here is we as a food industry live in between this place of big food, where we created these increasingly addictive things with salt and sugar and all this stuff. And it tastes great and you want Doritos. Sorry, Doritos. or small artisanal farmers and all this stuff that's also great, but it's expensive. Our industry has to find the space in the middle where we're selling healthy food that's good for you, and we feel good about it. Because I'll tell you, the younger generations are going to give big food a hard time. It's coming. So, private brand. It's interesting in this space because Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly own the big brands, and they're in shortage. So, because of the FDA's rulings, you can actually do private brand. You can do what's called a compounded version of this. For Ozempic, it's the semaglutide, which is the core ingredient, and for Zepbound, it's tirzepatide. So there are providers out there who are doing private brand pieces for this, primarily in retail telehealth. Weight Watchers actually launched, and you can go online and do kind of a Zoom call with a telehealth doctor, and they will sell you these products. Costco recently launched a partnership with a company called Sesame, where they're doing the same thing. So with your Costco membership, you can speak to a telehealth provider. We'll speak to a little bit, but there's a lot of them out there. So it's very available in essentially a private brand piece. Here's Costco's piece of Sesame. To lose weight today, the affordable way, your clinician will design a program that's right for you and prescribe weight loss medications as appropriate. You see it, it's a great deal from Costco. Marks & Spencer from the UK has recognized that the opportunity for companion products that work with gut health are huge. They actually partnered with a company called Zoe over there, which is, anybody who's ever seen the Dragon's Den, which is kind of a Shark's Tank over there, the entrepreneur who owns Zoe, to do this gut shot. So it's these live cultures, because as we discover around these GLP-1s that your gut controls so much of your health and it's telling your brain things, there's a lot of companion products that come along with it, like this gut shot. It's a Marks & Spencer private brand product they're doing a co-brand with. GNC just launched an entire GLP-1 side effects set. You'll see here, you're dealing with the side effects. How can we help? Now what? And a number of these are private brand products, as well as they partnered with Supergut to come in. Supergut is doing an interesting line of advanced fiber to really help you digest better and do things. Huge set for them. They're doing a big business online with it. The Vitamin Shop also just launched a set. They're actually doing telehealth and vitamins. So you can go online, talk to your telehealth provider. You can get either the branded or a private brand product, a medication, and then they'll sell you companion vitamins and supplements to go with it. Maybe you need a magnesium for constipation. A huge piece of it. What's next? What we believe with these medications, that as these plants get online, and as things happen, and there's a lot of more competitors coming, there's a monthly injection coming, there's a pill form coming, prices will come down. As prices come down, the market will get exponentially larger. Those 40 million people will try. We believe we'll see widespread insurance and Medicare coverage, as I said, monthly injections and daily pills, and we believe it will change the conversation around diet. We believe it will change the conversation around weight and health. We believe it's for the good. If you can't tell, this has changed my life. This is unquestionably the best thing we've done in a long time. And I'll tell you, this is not a fad. This is not some crazy fad diet. The way these medications make you rethink everything that you're doing and make you more healthier is just fundamental. I think it's a fundamental shift in our food culture. So the people that will get slammed, the fast food restaurants, all those guys that are just selling carb-packed, sugar-packed, salt-packed thing, they're going to take a hit. They're going to have to reevaluate. Retailers have the advantage of selling fresh food, packaged food. You have the advantage of mixing what you're doing to speak to this customer in a healthier way. And as you saw, it will be a huge chunk of your customer base. It has the opportunity to reshape everything about what we do, to change the consumer themselves about how they think about food. Okay, if you think this is all crazy and it'll never happen, I'm telling you, it will. It will be quality over quantity. It will be focused on protein, fruit, and vegetables, water, and fiber. All the things we should have been eating anyway, right? Retailers have the opportunity, whether you're a drugstore, a grocery store, a Lowe's Home Improvement, it doesn't matter, pick one, to really reposition existing products as GLP-1 companion products, to say, hey, these are ones that work well for that product. to develop new products. So portion controlled, nutrient rich, high protein. Right now, if you're on GLP-1s, the recommendation is that on average you're eating between 100 and 120 grams of protein a day. It's a lot of protein. It should ideally done with whole with real protein, so meats, yogurts, things like that. But most people can't actually get it that way. They don't cook enough. They don't do things. So there are supplements. There are smoothies. There are shakes. There are all these things that are going to come along. Then number 3, to innovate. So protein sources, resistant starch, prebiotic fibers, supplements, vitamins, you name it. There's opportunities to help. And it's going to be big business. And then finally, to educate. And grocers have talked about educating for years, and the challenge is people don't know how to cook, right? They learned a little bit more in COVID than they ever had, but the easiest way to eat well is to cook fresh food. Honestly, the least expensive way to eat well is to cook fresh food. Packaged goods really don't even get close. So it's going to take us as a culture learning how to cook to maintain this. We cook every day, so I actually enjoy it. What I would say is be bold. This is what I always say. Private brand has the opportunity to lead here, to say, we've been telling you we're talking to our consumers, we're listening to our consumers, and most of the time, honestly, they're not. They're making fake Cheerios. Okay. No offense, I love this business, but this is what we have done for 40 years. This is the opportunity to boldly take the lead. And I'm telling you it's coming. And if you look at me 3 years from now and 5 years from now and say, nobody told me, I told you right here. Laraine and I believe in this so much that in this crazy, crazy world, because I didn't need a second job, we actually launched a YouTube channel. And we talk about our weight every day or every week, 3 or 4 videos. This is what we do. So a couple months ago, we launched it. And the community has come out, and you can go look at the comments of these people talking about wanting to talk and have discussions around what they eat and how they feel and their health and everything. It's called Downsized. You can go check it out on YouTube. This is what we do. Until we did this, I had never said my weight out loud. Okay. I should not be a pariah for what I weigh. I should not feel like that. You should not feel like that. And this has the opportunity to change the culture. If you have any questions, please feel free to talk to myself or Laraine. So if you can't tell, I think this is going to change the world, and it's the world we live in.